Good morning, Monday morning. Welcome back to the show. Corey, me, and Bitcoin Madame Etta, who is an artist, writer, covering art, NFTs. Used to be an avatar, but now we have her in the flesh, which is cool. Welcome. We're gonna get to know you, but first, let's check out some cool art in the Uplift world.
Wow.
Right. I forgot that was like a super clip of all of the different cube installations that are in there. Interesting too. Like we're building this. We're building a couple maps for our push over to Ethereum, right? Little ones. And so I'm going out and I'm getting a bunch of projects that are connected to Ethereum, just kind of networking into that space to kind of create some community over there, right? And we'll of course mesh that back into what we're doing on Wax, but. So meta art, on the front page of OpenSea, this kind of super classy, 35 group of, artists or whatever, really awesome. So they, asked me to kind of, do up a building, TC, who's in the comments right now, went out and got Quadrell, volunteered to come and build this. So we're kind of, tossing around some ideas for it. The very first thing I thought, I was like, man, we need some cubes on the bottom. Because what they asked me for, they have 35 artists. I think we're going to put in 10 right away, right? So might put on one a floor, two a floor, something like that. But they want to have something that will basically rotate in and out, right? Every time they do an event or whatever, they'll put different images on the ground floor. And these plots are like 32 by 32. They're a little smaller than what we're used to on Wax. And right off the bat, you can put 12, right? Just get cubes up, and suddenly you've got that kind of immersive 3D experience that just. Well, I mean, you guys just saw it. I just totally forgot we had that super clip. Is that on YouTube?
Well, and there's a couple other interesting things too, right? Like you don't just get to go and walk around and see it all. You actually have to work your way through the gallery. You actually have to find the path through to the next box and the next artist and the next box and the next artist. And some of them are directly in front of you. Some of them, are above. There's little holes, and it's pretty cool. So I like it. They make you work to get up to the top, really.
Yeah, this is what I love about the metaverse. It's there's no sort of gravitational rules. You can have a gallery floating in midair, spinning. You can fly up to the next floor. Oh, I love it.
So you're no stranger to the metaverse or art on blockchain. So for people who don't know who you are, who are you? I mean,
yeah. Okay, so most people know me as Bitcoin Madame from Twitter. I go by various other names. Etatotti is the name I write under for Underground. But my real name is Charmaine, which recently I came out. I'm a real person who existed before NFTs. When I first got into NFTs, we didn't even call them NFTs then. We called it crypto art. This was back in 2019, 2020.
In the ancient times of NFTs 3 years ago.
I know. Yeah, I mean, so much so that I founded an organization called Women of Crypto Art. And like now you've got all these people coming in, they don't know what crypto art is, but they know what an NFT is. So I started off collecting NFTs basically. And I met a whole bunch of amazing artists. And we were kind of, we got together and we decided if we band together, we could be stronger and we could help promote each other. We could put on exhibitions in the metaverse. So WOCA was formed and we had our first exhibition in crypto voxels in Angie Taylor's London gallery, which is like an amazing venue. And she's got like a rooftop terrace and there was DJing. It was just a lovely sort of party atmosphere. And then since then, I've done talks in the metaverse to sort of encourage people to start collecting, and I just love it.
Yeah, so like you mentioned WOCA, like that's how we kind of first met. One of the old shows that Corey and I used to do on the Crypto Writer channel was roundtables, and we had a WOCA episode, which was quite fun. If you go back and watch that, but like a lot of those, older artists, like earlier in the space artists, they were all on Ethereum, right? And so this is exciting for me because as Corey mentioned, we're booting up a couple of Ethereum ones. Like that's where we're headed next, and like we want to see like a whole plethora of cool experiences, right? Whether you're going to recreate Mario Brothers in there, which has already been done, like whether you're going to create new galleries or showcase your art or showcase other people's art. So like, yeah, and I mean, you've kind of followed our show and followed our metaverse. Like, what do you think could be the benefit for some of these artists getting in there and utilizing, the platform? Even though, up until this point, we've been based on Wax, we're porting over to Ethereum. And that's pretty big because this is going to connect like all of the ecosystems eventually when we get to all these other chains, right? But I'll let you talk now. Sorry, you can tell I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's the dream of the future, isn't it? The interoperability. It doesn't matter what chain you minted your NFTs on, you can display them in a metaverse that's on a different chain. So I love that idea. And I like anything that gets an artist's work out to a wider audience. So you've got a lot of, it's kind of a bit like crypto, you've got your maxes and your tribes, like, oh, I hate Bitcoin, I hate Ethereum, all this kind of nonsense. And it's gone like that with NFTs. So you've got the ETH only maxes. It's like, oh, I'm not buying art on any other chain because that's worthless. And then you've got the people that maybe, a bit more savvy with their money and don't want to pay like $100 in gas fees. And they're like collecting on Tez, Wax, I shouldn't say Luna. They're collecting on other blockchains that are more affordable. And you're getting just as nice, good quality art, but for much cheaper prices. So if you've, say, minted on EOS and you want to display it in an Ethereum metaverse, why not? We should have the capability to sort of put things backwards and forwards.
Well, and so like for underground, like you guys support 5 different blockchains. If maybe one of them might die. For anyone who doesn't know, I took a hit, so I'm making fun of it to get over it too. But like yeah, right. But we've had Joe on the channel before, and Joe's pretty adamant about stating that the majority of the artists that you guys are supporting just so happens to be Telos, right? Like there's a really big thriving art scene of artists on Telos because of the affordability, right? Now, like Corey's brought this up a couple of times, and I tend to agree, right? Like the ability for multiple blockchain worlds, right? Planets, which we might end up calling them because Corey got that stuck in my head. That multiple, right? You have multiple blockchain planets, right? Is that like now, Ethereum artists potentially who have galleries and are building on these Ethereum worlds could hop through a portal and just that next instant be in a gallery that showcases art on Wax or art on Telos or art on any of these other things, right? And so kind of brings that whole system together, and I'm kind of excited. And the second thing is like, imagine if you like had an organization that was as well founded as WOCA, whose members all get along and support each other, because they were there from back in the early days. And like you had a WOCA tour, around a metaverse that went hop through like 3 or 4 or 5 different galleries. And like I'm giving all of our secrets away, but I'm only doing this because like within the next month, I expect this to be a reality. And it doesn't even matter, where we go next, but like we've been doing these Uplift happy hours, right? And we've been meeting. The first time was at the first cathedral. The second time was at Uplifters Tower. And we just, all meet in the metaverse and wander around and we talk on Twitter Spaces or on another vocal platform and run around and see things. And I had the opportunity to sit in with Joe on an NFT Japan Twitter Spaces, and they seem like lovely people. And I hope someday they get themselves into our metaverse or any other metaverse so that I can see their art. But it was painful to listen to the inspiration behind their art and not be able to see it, right? And so when you can mix like someone like you who's an artist, right, and go into the gallery and hear the stories behind it, right? Like Corey and I, we kind of saw that a little bit with the mall gallery, right? Because they were able to go in and talk about the art and things like that. But that's what I'm most excited about. I mean, for someone to be able to like explain the inspiration behind the art, well, you can see it and be almost in a real gallery where you can change your perspective and you can look like, up, down, fly all around and see what you want to see rather than just a picture on a screen even, right? Like, or like an NFT, a lot of these don't move, right? Like you can't play with the angles or the lighting or stuff like that. Again, I'm way too excited. I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah, so you've touched on a few things there that interest me. So you're talking about jumping and hopping from one blockchain to another or one metaverse to another. So I mean, Kenny from Meta Collect, he calls them the greater Meta Collect is the metaverse, and things like Finny, Mongs, Crunks, these are all miniverses. So there's like lots of terminology going on. But I've looked at metaverse architecture because I'm actually a Web3 consultant as my day job these days, right? And so I talk to big companies like car manufacturers and things like that about getting them a presence in the metaverse, and so how they could like improve health and safety if they built up a replica of their manufacturing factory in the metaverse and train their staff, etc. And things that like I was sort of found out in learning about how a metaverse is actually structured architecturally is all the things that you need to be thinking about from the ground up. So if I buy assets, like say my name, Bitcoin Madame, is an asset, and I want to be called Bitcoin Madame in every metaverse I visit, I want to be able to port that name with me. I want the same avatar in every metaverse, whether it's a Bored Ape or whatever I choose. But you want to seamlessly walk from Minecraft to crypto voxels to Decentraland, wherever you are. And we're not there yet. I think it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of collaboration between people that are on different teams to actually come together and get these APIs built so that you can just walk backwards and forwards seamlessly.
Well, I know the underground guys have been, like the Meta Collect guys have been working really hard, trying to get a presence in a lot of these metaverses. And they've got like an amazing Finny build over in Genesis of our server. It's one of the top city builds, right? And I'm lucky enough that I get to do a show with Sean once a week. So I get like all the behind the scenes secrets. But like, it's really quite fascinating when you look at what they've done and the way that they've kind of corralled all of these different kind of projects with the Mongs and the Finnies and the Crunks, right? All into like one umbrella. And it's fascinating. And I think like it's going to be really cool to see what happens when you add the layer of the uplift on there. Like the last time that Joe was on the channel, we talked about building them, an underground gallery. I think that there's probably going to be a Mong showcase somewhere as well. And so this is where things start to get really interesting. I mean, I don't do spoilers. Corey does. There's some other interesting projects that are coming to the metaverse too. Maybe you want to, I don't know, if you want to spoil it, go ahead. I mean,
come on, spill the beans.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, there's already a billboard of NFT the movie up, right next to Spawn and Ethereum. There's more coming out. I've said this before in the last couple of days. I've been sort of off the radar, which is like 6 months in NFT land. But yeah, I mean, probably the other one that is really exciting, and there's like 12 now, right? Like we set a goal to go connect with 100 projects on Ethereum, and in about 4 days we hit 12, which is astounding me. I was hoping for half that, so we're doing all right there. But ApeSwap is coming on board, and they're bringing friends, right? NFT the movie's the same way, so it's not just that we're connecting with some really, really amazing projects that have some awesome connections on Ethereum, like my curio cards. We've announced already, like the first art collection ever on Ethereum is going to have their museum here. But yeah, they're bringing friends, like amazing projects that are going to be connected and then close to them, right? Like they're going to build a little community within the maps that we're booting up. So yeah, no, it's okay. I feel
like honestly, like I'd love to see a small space with your artwork up there somewhere. Yep. Like if we're giving a bunch of plots away to people who are going to come in and going to build something and put their art up. And so like I think like Bitcoin Madame gallery right there in Ethereum would be excellent. Right. I think it'd be really cool. So
yeah, most of my collection is on Ethereum because that was the only place that you could collect initially.
Yep.
But I've got Wax, I've got Tesos, I've got Luna here. I've got loads of different stuff. I've got actually I'm a big XRP fan.
I'm a big XRP fan. Ducks.
The Flare network
awesome.
is now doing NFTs that all the XRP family love. So yeah, I've got art all over the place, and I just love it. I just can't stop collecting. And the only place I can look at it is in my wallets because I'm not going to pay like 3 ETH for a plot of land in crypto voxels. I just
if you're cool with it, let's upgrade this to holy shit happening. And if you need help with builders, we can hook you up. Because I would love to see your art there. And honestly, like it'll be amazing for the other projects that we're going to be invited to come in to be able to like portal over to that, right? Because it's like these maps are still a kilometer by a kilometer big. There's a couple of them. So it takes some time to just kind of wander around, but we're gonna have portals, right? So we're gonna have it set up so that you can walk through a very simple door from a bunch of different places and just land at the amazing gallery that you could set up. So cool. All right, is that cool with you? Like, can we do that? Can we hook you up with that?
Yeah, let's go after this.
Rock and roll, show over. We got work to do.
And just to clarify, like it doesn't it'd be great if the first floor was Ethereum, but if you want to put Telos on the second floor, you can put NFTs from 100%. Any blockchain in it, right? Like this is an Ethereum exclusive, right?
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
Sorry. So Paddle had a comment earlier above, but like that's one of my favorite things is like you can have like QR codes in there that will go right to your collection sites, right? It doesn't matter, where they are. And I've been working really hard to try to put together a series on our official website, which is basically quick start guides, right? Like so we've got one for Wax Cloud Wallet, we've got one for Wombat, we've got one for MetaMask, right? Like I'm working on one for Telos, I'm working on one for Terra or Terra 2.0 or whatever the hell it becomes, and I want people to be able to refer to these articles so that when they come across, a piece of Bitcoin Madame's Tesos art, they know how to get it, right? It's not just like, this is on Tesos and this is going to be really complicated for me to go and buy that, right? Like we want to be able to set them up across all of these different blockchains and give them that ability. And I just shout out to you because I think that it's brilliant that you have pieces and collections across all blockchains, right? Like I get the maximalism part of it, but I really only get it from the negative side because like there are people in the world that won't be able to afford even a break-even cost for what it costs to mint an NFT on Ethereum, right? But so people like you who are well-established artists that also have collections on these other platforms, right? Like it just brings value. And I mean, one of the reasons that I personally love, the Meta Collect guys is because they're really, and the whole team that you guys work with really is they're really focused on, bringing value cross-chain. right? Like focused on the art, focused on the people, not focused on, you know, one chain, you know, to rule them all. It's like, hey, you know, yeah, we went to Ethereum, but all of you people who are like angry because like we left EOS, it's okay. They're gonna come here too, right? Like we're gonna go there, they're gonna come here, right? Like we spread finnies, we spread mongs, and I think that can be the same with art.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
so yeah, you mentioned EOS. So exciting times. The underground art marketplace is going to be launching on EOS in the next couple of weeks. So I've been involved in doing some of the testing because in a previous life, before I was a Web3 consultant, I was a test manager in a sort of very boring bank. And so testing is really my bread and butter. So I love breaking things. That's what testers do. And I tried really hard to break the underground website. I didn't manage it, but it's looking good. It's a nice clean interface. If you've used Tia or Hen or anything like that, it will be familiar. All the navigation's similar, and there's no sort of clutter on the screen, so you could just look at the art and it scrolls on forever. You've probably
and the minting process too is quite clean, right? Like it's kind of and I think the overall plan is to expand this to multiple blockchains. So you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to mint across 5 different blockchains, and it'll be the same minting process, right? Like, and I think that this is really exciting. Yeah, like we minted on the testnet, we minted you know, the Swing and Jimmy, you know, Crunk NFT, which is really quite fun. But like, yeah, like we broke it a couple times, so I was like live on the show, only on Twitch, so no one can find it. But like, yeah, but like it's really exciting, I think. And I think the other thing that's exciting too, maybe you can touch on, is the collect token. They're releasing that too once the marketplace goes live, right?
Yeah. So I mean, because of all the hoo-ha last week with Luna, you know, the plans have had to sort of adjust slightly. So I think the collect token isn't going to kick in on day one when the marketplace launches. It'll be like a couple of weeks later. But it means if you have like finnies, crunks, mongs in your wallet, hello to all the mongs out there, you can stake these and earn collect. That's my mong. Oh. I love it. It looks just like me. I just needed a necklace. I love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, you can earn collect tokens just by having these NFTs in your wallet. And yeah, so what can you use the collect token for? Well, if you're an artist, you can use it for minting. If you're a collector, you can save up your tokens and buy art with it. I believe it's going to be like tradable as a token on Uniswap type thing. So exciting. Yeah, getting paid just for owning an NFT. You can't get better than that.
Sorry, and I actually really like the way that they're doing it too, right? They do it a little bit different than us. Like, so for people who might be tuning in for the first time, we have miners and we give Uplifting drips, which are in-game token, which allows for people to put in like their artwork, right? Like basically uplifting services, right? Art or picture installs or portals. And this allows, you know, for kind of like an in-game economy where people can improve their plots. I mean, obviously those services have a cost of, you know, labor for people to do it. So we've done it that way. And if you hold these miners in your account, as a simple aside, we're doing new blends now with partner projects that will also, you know, double as miners that will give you drips over time, which is really cool. I think the Gnome City one went live today. I think we've got an Immersies one coming up. We've got one with Ken Bozak coming up. A bunch of these new, you know, blends that are cross collection that will, you know, add miners, which is pretty cool. And so yeah, we do this and it drips, you know, Uplifting too. And that Uplifting can be used over time. It doesn't matter whether I collect it this week, next week, or you know, 2 months later, I can still get it. But what I really like about what you guys are doing is you're essentially forcing people to come in and, you know, click a button and collect token on a monthly basis, or it resets to 0, which I really like because your whole underground platform, in a sense, is built out of engagement, right? And so, like, I don't think that there's a one-stop solution that fits all, right? Like, what works for you guys isn't going to work for us, and vice versa, right? But like, I know, you know, part of the reason that they that they ported over to that. And I think that this is just a brilliant idea, because if you are a art-based project, you want people to be engaged with the art, right? Like just collecting art, that it's worse than like modern art collectors. Modern art collectors go to auctions, they buy art, they put it in a storehouse where no one sees it, right? But at least they can walk into the storehouse and see it. I mean, most of these people, some of these people, they probably don't even like open, their NFT wallets. Like, I don't know, like, what do you think is the difference between, NFT art collectors who speculate that don't look at their art, and real world art collectors that speculate and don't look at their art? I don't know if there is a difference, but I'm always excited by it.
Yeah, so they're the same type of people, but the beauty of NFTs is, I think it was maybe Hackatoo who once said, owned by one but seen by all. So, there's a lot of NFTs out there way beyond my budget and price range that I could never own. But I know whose wallet they're in. They're in Whale Shark's wallet, Moderats, Basilius, one of these big whale guys.
I feel like we just got all the alpha, Corey. Take those names down, hit them up.
Yeah, so you can look at the art anytime, you can appreciate it and covet it and go, God, I wish I could hack into that wallet, whereas if it's in somebody's basement, nobody sees it. I love that movie, Night at the Museum. That everything comes alive, and there's a museum in Glasgow near where I live, and it's called Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum, and it looks exactly like that. It's a proper museum with a big hairy mammoth and loads of great stuff. And that's what art should be like. It should be on display. Everyone should see it. It's a crime to hide it away.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the number of people that are going to chance buy things that will seriously affect them, over the next year, 2 years, 5 years, is probably going to go up exponentially, right? I mean, that's sort of what we're saying, and like the number of artists that are going to get exposure because of that, and the communities that will develop around the ideas and the creations that people are making. Like, it's just that boggles my mind. Like, just being able to help that in any way is a privilege.
I know.
Fact that we can.
Yeah, so everybody, had a go at us all saying, oh, you're spending all this money on JPEGs. I can just right-click and save it. Yeah. We've heard all that. But what we're doing, we're buying the assets of the future. So 10 years from now, you'll have your real house with your roof that you live in, but everybody will have at least one home in the metaverse. And you want to decorate that home with nice works of art. And this, like the wearables is becoming a big sort of trend as well. And you'll have your Adidas hoodie or your Nike trainers, whatever, as NFTs. So you'll be wearing the real clothes, and your avatar will be wearing the clothes as well. Maybe you can't afford the real clothes, but if nobody goes out of their house ever again, it doesn't matter what you wear, but your avatar will be seen by everyone.
Yeah. Right? What happens when EA Sports, like FIFA World Cup, is sponsored by Nike, and you actually get the one-of-one Nike, shoes as championship, right? Like, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, another thing that we can talk about too, like, Underground is basically opening, or MetaCollect is basically opening their first, real world art gallery just outside of Brisbane, coming up this year later. And the concept behind that is quite interesting, because in order to, display your art in these giant monitors, you actually have to prove ownership of that NFT, which is quite, exciting, because they can have real world events that they can plug themselves into. I think there might be one closer to where Corey lives on the horizon as well, if this one works out, because the co-founders are kind of on opposite sides of the earth. But it's really exciting. Like, well, how do you think like that's going to affect that ability to bring NFTs into the art world will affect the modern art scene?
It's going to be amazing. So I've seen the work in progress of the gallery in Brisbane. They've got electricians in there, they're like wiring up the walls for all these digital frames. It's going to be so cool. And I think like Kenny is such a visionary, and he's already like putting out the feelers to art galleries all around the world. I probably shouldn't say too much, but anyway, it's all about collaboration. So there are obviously other existing art galleries that have cottoned on to NFTs, and they are displaying digital frames. So let's just join together with them. Let's show each other's art. There could be like, Finneys on display in galleries in cities all over the world, and we'll display in Brisbane, like the whatever gallery art is coming from London, Berlin, anywhere. It's just so much potential.
And like it's really cool too, because if you think about it, like some of the biggest, some of the biggest thefts in history have been like art thefts when people are moving pieces from one gallery to another. Yeah. Right? Like and so what happens when you plug the whole NFT scene into that? A, and B, I mean, I've never seen any art that was painted by Van Gogh or Da Vinci that moves or has like special effects or things like that, right? Like, so there's a really cool aspect behind that, right? Like, I mean, it's like a magic eye, but you don't have to get too close to the art, to get like dragged out because you're too close to the art, right? Like, it's pretty cool.
I know you talk about like Van Gogh. Actually, I was at an exhibition at the weekend called Van Gogh Alive. And they've taken all Van Gogh's artworks and they're like project them onto these massive screens all round about you. And they play all this like really sort of emotional classical music, and they've actually animated some of it. It's really cool. I think it's an exhibition that's going to go around the world, like a pop-up thing. But I was almost in tears watching it. It was so emotional. But we could do that with NFTs. I mean, we could do anything. It's just so many possibilities. I know Super Rare are doing a pop-up in real life exhibition over the summer, so people can go along there, and it's going to bring in a new audience of people who maybe didn't know what an NFT was, a bit scared of it, but they'll see these animated frames that may have like music with them. Everyone's going to be blown away.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to deal with it, right? Like, I'm trying to get out of my house, but I don't get out very often, right? But like, there's some really cool, things that happen here in Japan, right? Like, at New Year's they do like the Osaka Castle, which is downtown close to where I live, and the kind of old European quarter where the town hall and stuff is. There's some old banks and stuff, but they have people that come in and do like projection mapping on that. Now, what happens when you mix things like that with NFTs? You get famous artists that can come in and like put these, real works of art. Like, I mean, I don't know. I want to ask you about that picture behind you. Like, I don't know. Is that an NFT? Like, is that yours? Like, what's up with Satoshi? Because he looks, cool as hell.
Yeah. So this is obviously Satoshi. The piece is called The Architect, and it's by Trevor Jones. And it is an NFT. I don't own the NFT. I just own the print, which is limited edition. So Trevor Jones lives not far from me in Edinburgh, and he's actually a friend of mine. And I bought this before he was famous. So he's like in the top 10 of NFT artists now, and he goes all over the world. But I remember him shilling to me going, oh, you need to buy this now and blah, blah, blah. And it's actually got augmented reality in it. So if I put my smartphone up to it, then you get a little video comes up telling you all about Satoshi going, I don't know anything about Bitcoin. It wasn't me. It's the coolest video ever.
Oh, snap. Because it's like not that cool. I mean, it's cool for me, but like I have this picture frame, from when my daughter was born. And it's got augmented reality in it. And I thought about this and I was like, this would be really cool, like to replicate as an NFT. Like an NFT with not only a QR code, but augmented reality that tells a story. I mean, that can be done, right?
Yeah.
Corey, why aren't we fucking doing that?
Yeah, there's so many of these things that, right? Like the tools that we're doing, like, and how many people, kind of even I think it was APAD was like, oh, QR codes or whatever. Like, yeah, like this is a thing that we, have seen people start doing, right? But that ability, okay, you can walk into a Minecraft build and that build can be magical and you can have pictures in it. Okay, that's cool. You can walk into a magical Minecraft build. It can have pictures in it. Some of those pictures are QR codes. You point your phone at it. It takes you to the sales page for that, right? I've been telling people, as we do this, easy to do to get it to go to the OpenSea page or to the, NFT sales page for that asset. Great. Why not a blog post, right? That's like the top level thing. Because like once people start connecting with the story of it, that's going to be, that much more intense. And of course, the sales link is going to be in the blog post, no problem. But like having a video or having a puzzle or having just something completely and totally random, like that arc or that vector for artistic expression, I think it's like people are just now going, wait a minute, we can get weird. And I'm excited about that because
yeah. So like when can we, because, there's two sides to every story. Usually one's right, one's wrong. But like, when can we get you to bring your friend on the show and hear about like, his experience in the NFT space and how you met him and his feelings about, all of this stuff. And I think that would be really fascinating, actually. Or he can come without you if you want to. But like, I just think it's really interesting to play with these ideas about, what's possible. Because like, if it can be done with a picture, it could be done with a picture in a metaverse, right? Like, there's no reason why it can't.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking about games as well, Corey. So I've got a few cyber brokers. So these are the 10,000 avatars, and all the data's on chain. It's quite a cool project, but they're trying to build their community by having all these sort of puzzle quests, which they give you cryptic clues. They'll put out tweets, which sort of everybody has to get together in the Discord voice channel and go, well, how the hell do we decipher this tweet, and how do we log into the firewall on the fake website? And it's really good for building community, and it helps the value of the NFTs as well. So yeah, anything you can gamify in your NFTs, or maybe like unlock certain features if people interact in certain ways. Yeah, so much stuff.
Yeah, it's part of what we're adding into, to the Uplift, right? I mean, the ability for, Mitzi's my favorite example. There's a few people doing it where, she owns, she's built these hotels all over the world and will have quests, right? So people have to show up and maybe take a selfie or maybe like farm a carrot, whatever it is, right? Like do all sorts of different things. And she's giving NFTs out for that, right? So she's like really experimenting with all the things that are possible in our sort of, Minecraft layer, along with everything that we're sort of creating. Look, probably the biggest thing that people are going to start focusing on this year for us is, I think once we have social logins done, the whole punch sign, the high five sign thing goes automatic, which means you could come in, you could build a gallery and, create a whitelist or start airdropping people NFTs if you wanted to, or token or whatever, right? The second that anyone comes to your gallery and they high five a sign, maybe they get a point. If you can hide it, right? So that's where, if you have a quest, right, you could, basically give a hint or whatever, and have it set up so that, it's somewhere hard to find. Yeah, and this is the thing, like gamifying the sort of in the video game, in the metaverse part of this stuff, to then start having connections with the rest of the NFT collection and the community. To your point, like the Discord, getting people together to do these things has, real juice. We love that stuff.
Yeah, you're talking about like hidden things. This takes me back to when Sonic the Hedgehog first came out. And that was my favourite game ever. And you'd collect rings, and it was quite lame, and it was fun. It was a bit girly, maybe. But there was secret rings, and you had to maybe go on the internet and find out, where do I have to like make my character go? Maybe like make the character fall underwater, and there's a secret ring that they can collect. There was all these different things. So yeah, God, you're already in like Minecraft. This is perfect.
Yeah,
one of our team members said something to me the other day, and it was pretty funny. It was like, he's quite into Minecraft, obviously, but there was a little joke there about like, it's lucky it's not Zelda, because like, I was so into Zelda that like I almost hate it now. I think that was the quote, right? Like, I don't know. It's a bit. Sonic the Hedgehog was great, right? Like, and I, again, still, shout out to the Finny community. There was a Finny member way back in the early days. They actually built like a Mario plot where you could go in and like run the Mario Gauntlet and like jump up tubes, go underground, like, you know, jump over the blocks, go through lava. And when you got to the end of it, there was like a QR code on the wall, like you could scan and you would get like the NFT, and it was pretty cool. I lost every single time, but yeah.
See, we've done so many amazing things over the years, and we forget all these tools in our toolbox that we could like now bring to NFTs. That would be so cool to do that.
I mean, speaking of toolboxes, if you need to plug into the toolbox of all toolboxes that get you all the tools, go to NFT Blocks because they're awesome. There's some really cool stuff that they're doing, and they're actually sponsoring this season of our Uplift rewards, which is really cool. And I believe we're doing the next. We're doing the next. What do you call it? Happy hour on Friday at the NFT Blocks plot. So definitely come out and join and hear all you can. So before we let you go, though, Edda, I want to jump into this. Like, tell us about your art. You know, like what kind of an artist are you? What are your inspirations? This is really interesting to me because I do like weird stuff. Like before NFTs were a thing, I found, you know, a couple of my favorite artists. There was one artist that she did like these female art projections of different societies throughout the ages. And so like I basically printed them all off on like little, you know, postcard sized images, and I hung them on like my Japanese doors, like in a weird pattern and stuff, like because it was just really cool because I'm like a historian. This actually reminds me a little bit of that, even though it's not even remotely close, but it had like the same color tonalities to it. And so I'm kind of curious for people who don't know you, tell us about your art.
Yeah, so I mean, it's very flattering that you're saying I'm an artist. I'm not really an artist, right? I'm a creator, okay? So I'm a writer. And I didn't paint these beautiful pictures, but I did write some stories for them. So the Muses collection is 999 nude women, basically. So the artist who created them, she's an Armenian lady living in Milan, and she drew 100 of the black and white muses, and 100, well, not 100 women, it's about 20 women writers, Web3 writers like myself, wrote some short stories that were inspired by the pictures, and we wrote stories. And they actually found out that I was a writer through Underground, so that was nice. And then they took an AI engine, or in fact, 2 AI engines, and one of them took the each of the muses, so the ladies, and created a sort of a coloured abstract version of it. So you can see the black and white ones are the original, and then there's all these sort of coloured sort of variations. And they took another AI engine to create AI stories, which sounds a bit naff, but actually I run a Twitter space every week for muses. We read out some stories and we get the audience to guess whether it was written by a human or by AI. And sometimes people can't tell. So it's a really cool project. And it's, for me, it's exciting because it's the first time that any of my work is going on the blockchain as a creator. So I can like get in on the royalties if the things sell and resell.
When? What are you talking about? If? When?
Right.
Yeah, end of the month. So it's minting the 30th of the month. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a pinned post on Twitter if you want to know anything about muses. But yeah,
so we need to get this up on your gallery with a QR code that goes to that link or a blog post about that link, right? Like that, like. And I guess the other thing we could do too is host an event before it goes live. Right. So like, get some stuff up on your land. And when you do a Twitter spaces, just let people know we're meeting at this thing. We actually started doing this for ours. Right. So we do Twitter space happy hour every Friday. Right. Yeah. And we just pick up different place in the world where we're going to meet. Right. So you have everybody meeting in world. and they can come in and experience this in 3D, but they're on the Twitter Spaces, so they're like, it's like you're
For
there.
the audio. That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah, it's working.
What else we started doing on Underground? We do the Underground digs every Monday night, so it's a few hours from now on Twitter Spaces. And we started streaming it on Twitch at the same time so that people listening on Twitter can see what work of art we're talking about. But if we were to do it in the metaverse, then that's pretty cool.
Hey Corey, I'm like moving like really soon. Like I
Okay.
just have to figure out like my passport stuff, and then I'll be like on a normal time. Like maybe we could do like Twitter Space art gallery, get-togethers every week too, right? Like that would
every
be pretty
day.
sweet.
I mean, like considering how intense this is going to get over the next 3 months, like the market can go like freaking piss up a rope. Like we're not slowing down, right?
No,
There's too many things going on. And like that I think there's enough galleries that we could literally be hosting an event every day and no one would get bored. Like there's that much going on.
Yeah, I mean, the bear market is the ideal time to focus on building stuff, isn't it? You forget about the prices.
Corey, plug your ears, because like one of these days, some of the spaghetti's gonna stick. But there used to be this old board game called Tabloid Teasers, and like when you were telling me about this is really interesting, right? So this board game is they would give you like a headline of the newspaper story or the tabloid story, and then like every person that was sitting around the circle, they would write the finish of the headline, and then they would put it in the box, and then one person would read out all of them, and the actual headline was in there. And the first person to guess the actual headline, they won the round. Now imagine if you did that with all of the writers who are writing for these people and actual version from the artist. And the first person to guess the version of the artist, they get number one of the NFT. I mean, there's so many cool gamifications here that you can do that would just I think one of the biggest problems, and this happens in the real world as well. But again, this is a little bit of an aside, but this is something that I noticed. A lot of artists are very, closed. They don't like to be in public places. They don't like to be there and talk and stand up in front of audiences. But what something like Twitter Spaces in the Uplift world allows people to do is it allows them to I think feel a lot more comfortable with speaking and being out there in the public eye, because people aren't staring at them, right? They don't have to worry about people picturing them naked. I mean, they don't have to worry about how to get around this stage fright, because there is no stage fright, right? Nobody's seeing them. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that people are a lot more open.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's taken me 2 years to show my face on camera. So yeah, and we get a lot of artists on the digs spaces, and a lot of them, English isn't their first language, and they're really sort of nervous and don't want to speak about their art. And we say, look, it doesn't matter if you don't speak English. If you've not got someone to translate, just speak in your own language, and we can hear the passion in your voice that will get us excited about your art. So nobody should be afraid to be their true self.
Yeah, and just have them get on and do it a couple of times. The support that people end up getting from the community too, it just sort of all of your worries were crazy. Everybody wants you to be here. This is going to be awesome, right? Yeah.
I know. I mean, the Meta Collect community is so friendly, and we have such a laugh. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of the Mongs Twitter Spaces. They do these things. It's quite late at night for me, but they do this thing called it's like musical chairs, but you put your hand up, and when the music stops, you have to quickly put your hand down or you're out. It is hilarious. It's the most fun Twitter space I've been on.
Yeah, the Mongs are insane. They're They're like lemmings times 10. I mean, they just jump in there and go for gold every single time. They're awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome sauce.
So yeah, I definitely get in touch. We'll get you a plot. I think there's already people in there that are building. I'd love to see some Bitcoin Madame, gallery work happening. In T minus 10 seconds, essentially, right? But and if you're very connected across a few spaces, so please feel free to shout out anyone that that you think deserves a chance to to throw something up for not only far less than 3 Ethereum in a gallery, but basically for free. That we can, because we want to, Corey, why don't you give your little pitch? Like, what are we doing here? How are we populating this world? How are we starting this?
Yeah, I mean, our whole thing is like, we didn't really know that many people from Ethereum. Well, I guess we did. We just didn't know, whatever, like focusing on it. And this is what we did in the beginning on Wax, right? Like, Jimmy and I went out and we connected with, 50 of the coolest, biggest projects, in the space at the time. It was pretty early on Wax. And we gave them, we called them community plots back then. We can't call them, embassies or galleries now, because that's mostly what people are using them for. And it just created a pop-up community. Like, everybody kind of knew what we were doing because you could be neighbors with somebody, right? So, from a business or networking perspective or whatever, like, we want to build a community of communities. Like, that's kind of the whole point of this metaverse thing, right? So we've got 2 fairly small maps, and we're going to populate it with 100 of the coolest projects that we can find on Ethereum relatively quickly, right? And of course, most projects now are doing stuff on different chains or whatever. Highly encouraged. Like, that's the whole thing for this year, right? We're starting on Ethereum. After that, we're going everywhere else where there's tons of energy. So we've got a few really amazing collections, a couple upstart collections, like it's sort of getting things moving. But yeah, I'm really excited to have you there it's like it's like having that gallery next to NFT the movie. Like, I don't know if you know those guys, but like, you're their neighbor now, right? So like, that's going to be a whole situation. And then if there's any collections that on Ethereum that might want to be part of that, I mean, I think that's the real juice, right? Like, there's it's a 3D world. People are going to have galleries and events and whatever. But having 100 projects that are suddenly family in a way, right, is something that I mean, I'm starting to see the ramifications already, because I've made just a few introductions between a couple of the different projects that are coming in, and things happen, right? And that is really exciting for me. So if you know anybody, like, we're gonna get you a piece of land so you can build something on it, or we can help you find some people that'll build something on it. But who do you want as a neighbor? Because
just bring in all the WOCA ladies.
Okay. Yeah, let's chat, because I think like having an entire corner of the map that was the WOCA lady collections.
We don't want it to be the women's ghetto of the metaverse.
Ghetto? What are you talking about? That's going to be the hyper center of the whole thing. Ghetto. Yeah, no, I think it'd be amazing, right? Because then we can actually have a portal that hits that location, and then I mean, you guys kind of have that, and so this is where from sort of the other side of this is we have a few galleries built up or whatever, and that's like a community and culture or whatever. How many people want to buy land near there? Like, that ultimately is the business case for why we're doing this, right? We build the community and the connection, and then people might want to buy up some land around themselves to kind of expand or whatever. But mostly it's like, I want to own a piece of land there. Are you kidding me? Like, that's going to be amazing. We know it is. So yeah, that's
not only like just for rewards that you're getting. I like where I see actually the use case in this is like, what if you're an up and coming artist, right? And you don't have a following, like, and you get to be beside Bitcoin Madame, and people have to like walk through that rail to get to your plot, and they see your art because they know that there's tons of traffic going there, right? Like, it's really fascinating how we can potentially see the rise of various art through proximity to galleries, or various NFTs through proximity to embassies. I think it's going to be really quite. Fuck it, Corey. We're like, I don't know. Like, basically, we're are we too big to fail? I don't know.
We have some work.
We're not, but like this idea, and I think I just want anyone who wants to be a part of it to be here.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
From the beginning. And if you don't like us, well, it's okay too. But I mean,
it's a big internet. People can go anywhere they want to go.
Like, if you want to be a part of it, 100 free embassies or art galleries are going out in like basically the next 24 hours. Not really, but like as fast as we can push them out, right? Like,
yeah. We're doing this at breakneck speed. Because I mean, we have to, right? Because we just got we just bought the company. We need to bootstrap some revenue from zero. This is by far the the simplest way for us to do that, while creating a whole bunch of energy and buzz in a whole section of community, and probably doubling or tripling the number of people that are in the Uplift ecosystem. So yeah, lots of work to do, but it's this is the work. It's fucking exciting. Like that, like, okay, sign me up.
It's a great time to be alive.
It really, really is.
So we got to wrap it up because we got to fly. Corey's going to be going live in about 3.5 minutes with Dan from Immersies to talk about all that's going on in their project. I have to sit this one out. I've got another meeting to attend to. But honestly, Etta, like, come back anytime. Invite yourself anytime. You have the link if you've got underground underground updates or updates on your art.
Yeah.
Updates on the gallery. I mean, come back as much as you want, whenever you want. Plug yourself in anytime. Into that calendar. We're always happy to have you here. You're one of the most underrated people in the space, actually, and I'm really glad that you're actually putting your face out there, right? Like, I've heard nothing but praise and good things in all of the channels that like are underground that know you. So
That's so sweet.
Yeah, but thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
All right. Let's
doing the thing.
Sure.
All right.